I'm Rita Verde, your Arts Consortium Board President. I'd like to welcome you this evening at 5:30, where we would like for you to join us on Zoom to vote on our slate of officers. We sent out a poster to you earlier, and on that poster we have the password, ID information, all that you need to join us on Zoom. If you did not receive that poster, we'd like for you to please contact the Arts Consortium office and let us know. All confirmed members did receive that poster. We'd like to make sure that you are involved and counted. Dave Daniels is stepping away for a while. We thank him so much for his service. He's been a wonderful addition to our board, and we're going to be sorry to see him go, but he's going to return as an advisory board member, so we're not going to say a complete farewell to him. I'd also like to indicate to you that in January we will be sending the bylaws out to you so that you can approve the bylaws at our January membership meeting 2021. I'd like to now present Dr. Lucia Vazquez, who will be presenting the Chicano Art History Engagement Project to you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. I really wish I could visit you in person, but we're just not there yet. I'm Dr. Lucia Vazquez, and I am the project manager for the Chicano Art Heritage Engagement Project. I've sat on the school board for 9 years. I did not win my recent re-election, but that's okay. 9 years is a long time to be a public figure. You know, you really do lose your private life. During that time, I got my doctorate degree in education, focusing on organizational leadership. I just love to see art. I don't know that I would consider myself my artist, but some of my poems aren't too bad. But we've had to switch a couple of things. One thing we're still hoping to do, the Anchor Project, is the Ricardo Jesus Favela exhibition that we're planning for March. And so Ricardo Favela was from Dinuba, and went to C.O.S. before he went to college in Sacramento, at Sacramento State, and co-founded what they call the Royal Chicano Air Force, the RCAF. A friend of mine that was a good friend of Mr. Favela's had been wanting, and his widow, Mr. Favela's widow, had been wanting to do something at C.O.S., had been wanting to give back to the community. And so we had been talking about this for a few years, but it just so happens that I also write grants. So when this local impact came together, it really was just a labor of love, but we needed a fiscal agent because, again, we had people from C.O.S. and people from the community, but we didn't have our own organization to be able to come to. So the Arts Consortium and Ophelia was gracious enough to believe in us and be our fiscal agent so that we could move on and have a structure and have a home. The mission of the Chicano Arts Heritage Engagement Project is to engage multi-generational community members in a conversation centered around the question, what does Chicano art mean in the 21st century? We hope to build community and to expose the current generation to Chicano art, its artists, its rich history, and particularly the critical role that Chicano art played in the civil rights movement in the Central Valley, and how this history might be inspiring to artists now. And we've done this speaker series where we've been able to engage community members in quite a few conversations about things. So our first one on September 16th, we talked about a link between the Mexican independence and Black Lives Matter. The second one that we did was sponsored by C.A.H.E.P from C.O.S., which is the Cultural Historical Awareness Program. We talked about artivism through the Royal Chicano Air Force, really highlighted the poster art that was done during that time, Breakfast for Niños. The other one actually advertising 3 different events on 3 different campuses on the same day. And locally, one of the speakers were here said it was his dad that saw, a poster like that got him even interested in going into law school. And I think that's kind of the point of this grant, is that can we show the impact of art in people's lives? And that's why we're seeing the real mix of stuff that happened before. We're finding that we're still dealing with some of the same issues. The third person in our series that we invited was Barbara Carrasco. And this one we call Los Ojos de Bárbara. Her work ethic really shone through. And this was a very young woman when she started painting. When she talks about her adventures and her risks and her painting and her work, it's pretty incredible. And the teachers all said, oh, please make sure that you integrate that to really help students know that sometimes you got to take those risks, and you never know where you're going to end up, because Barbara has done art pretty much all over the world. Even though we talk about feminists and we talk about anti-racism, I mean, she really lived that, and students really reacted to that, to being bound, to being expectations that are still placed this day on what women's roles are. So to have someone be able to speak to that and show her art and really show feminism in another light, because many people think that feminism is just male bashing, and it's not at all. It's the idea that women are capable, and women can be educated and can be artists and can be anything they want to. Because we're just focusing on Chicano art at this point, but I just think that this particular piece of art history that we're bringing focuses on Chicano art, on the Chicano movement, and the contributions that were made by this art in the Chicano movement here locally. The UFW, the Farm Workers Movement, was a big part of the civil rights movement here in the Central Valley. And again, that was one of the main things that the RCAF, the Royal Chicano Air Force, focused on. And you will see that in the art of Ricardo Favela. I'm really looking forward to being able to have his work here. We do have some wonderful things happening here in the Central Valley. And all of our stuff is going to be online pretty soon. So even if you're not from the Central Valley and you have roots here, or you want to see what we're doing, please come and check us out. Our Seen and Unseen next presentation will be January 27th. Just yet, but we're hoping to have a queer perspective for you, so it should be very interesting. So we're still working on that. We have a very knowledgeable, committed planning committee. Majority of them are professors from C.O.S. And with some community members. But if you would like to join us on that planning committee, we would love to have you. Thank you so much for having me today and for being our fiscal sponsor. And I look forward to many more collaborations. Thank you.
We thank you so much for your support in joining us at our membership meetings via YouTube. We did not really want it to be handled that way, but that was the next best thing. We thank you so much again for your support and joining us. All the presenters have been awesome that we have had, and we will continue to have presenters this following year. So we thank you again.